Believe it or not, plus we hit the waiver wire here on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5, a podcast that gets you caught up fast on the fantasy news and advice that you need to know. Follow and stream us on Spotify and anywhere else podcasts are found. Today is Monday, April 5th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And let's start off with, believe it or not, Scott, Julian Merryweather is the Blue Jays closer.
I'm leaning toward believing it. He's gotten 2 saves already. They were kind of unusual circumstances, 1 extra innings. One Jordan Romano, who we thought was going to be the closer, was brought in to pitch to the top of the lineup in the 8th inning. So, maybe just using him in the high leverage situation. But Merryweather gotten the 2 saved and looked overpowering doing it. So I'd rather roster both and kind of hedge my bet that way because I think it's like 60-40. It's Merryweather going forward. But if you were forcing me to pick one, I would pick Merryweather's. Really, really exciting how he's looked.
Yeah, he's throwing 99, 100 miles per hour, striking everybody out. Julian Merryweather rostered in just 21% of CBS leagues. Go out and add him if you are in need of saves. Believe it or not, Scott, Yermin Mercedes is a must-add player in fantasy baseball.
So he has a few things working against him that make me say no, not must-add. He's on most sites, including CBS, he's utility only, DH only. And that's going to be a tough fit, particularly for a guy with playing time concerns. But, he started 3 straight games over the weekend, had 5 hits in one, had 3 hits in another. They have 4 lefties coming up this week, and he's a right-handed hitter. So I think he's going to keep getting chances for now. And you look at his minor league track record, maybe 28 years old, but he kept hitting down there. He hit really well, 2019 especially. His numbers were great, good plate discipline. And it seems like Tony La Russa is giving him a chance. So, it's probably not going to work out. And again, because the difficulty in playing him, most people can probably let him go. But if you have a spot to work with, if you're not committed to somebody who you'd be dropping, I think you take a flyer on Yermin Mercedes and see where this goes.
All right, so he's not a must-add, but someone that, you could flirt with, and if you have an empty roster spot, you can look to add. Let's stick with the waiver wire, Scott. And who is a hitter that you do think needs to be added right now?
All right, I'm going to cram 2 in here. Well, you know what? I already did Mercedes. So I'm just going to go with the high-end guy. He's 70% rostered on CBS Sports Leagues, but if you're in a shallower league, Gavin Lux right now is absolutely must-have because he started every game, which is something not even Corey Seager did. In fact, Gavin Lux got the start at shortstop over Corey Seager on Sunday. They're just giving Seager a day off, but the willingness to use Lux at shortstop, the position he played in the minors, I think bodes well for him. He started against a lefty, even though he's a left-handed batter. It seems like Dave Roberts is more committed to using Gavin Lux than ever, and Lux is performing, which helps. So, this time last year, consensus top 5 overall prospect. You got to pick up Gavin Lux if he's available.
Absolutely, 100% agree. How about on the other side, Scott? Who is a pitcher that you think needs to be added?
So it's mostly closers. There really wasn't a highly available guy who was like, oh, I got to run out and grab him. In addition to Merrifield, there was Cesar Valdez, who got 2 saves for the Orioles, their first 2 saves. I don't know how good he is, but, it seems like he has the role. Wade Davis got a save, the Royals' first save when Greg Holland got in trouble. Chris Davinsky got the Diamondbacks' first save, and it seemed like the plan was to get him in the 9th inning. So those are 2 guys I'd be looking at also. I will throw another hitter just if you need a lower-end guy, Michael Taylor. 2 home runs over the weekend for the Royals and made some changes to his swing that might make him not so strikeout prone anymore.
I love it. And it was a wild weekend of baseball, Scott. So let's just wrap up here. Who is a winner and loser that you noticed from this past weekend?
So a winner and a loser. I'm going to go, I'm going to look at pitchers. And a winner I noticed was Zach Eflin, who had a dominant start against the Braves, very efficient through 7 innings. And that's a great lineup, of course. But really, it was his introduction of a curveball. He used it about as much as his slider, which we hadn't seen before. And the 2 seemed to, he got a similar whiff rate on both. So, if he has an additional tool in his arsenal there, Zach Eflin might actually be able to follow through on that breakout he had last year, which I had my doubts about. I am worried about Corey Kluber. He was averaging less than 90 miles per hour on his fastball. That's a big drop from before. And he was throwing his breaking balls a lot more, which tells me he's not confident the fastball's there anymore, kind of pitching like an old man. So a little worried about Kluber.
Yeah, and he's dealt with so many injuries, so I think, just kind of tack that on to what we saw in his first start, and yeah, definitely cause for concern there. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. This is your audio outlet for fantasy news and advice in just 5 minutes. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye!